What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode. We're looking forward to dropping some major knowledge for you guys. Today we got preparing to sell to repurchase. So this is an important one because timelines are very crucial when you're trying to sell your home and also buy. So looking forward to going through that with you guys today. Again, my name's Dylan, in case you haven't seen already on the past videos. This is my boy Edgar right here.
Edgar, mortgage broker, Fresno, California, serving all of California.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
So we're really excited. Like you said, we're gonna drop major knowledge because it's not easy selling a house and buying a house right away when you don't know what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
That's where the experts come into play. So essentially what you're doing when you're selling a property is you're unlocking your equity to fund the next purchase. And you really want to make sure that you time everything and make the transition very seamless. And then also too, understanding where the market is at, take advantage of the market.
Yeah, just kind of knowing what's going on, talking with your agent, seeing where we're at within the year as far as buying and selling, how it's looking.
All right, so getting started, what you really want to do to make sure you're prepared to sell, to repurchase, is to plan ahead, get your budget in line, talk to a loan officer. Because let's just say, for example, you're going to sell your property, maybe net somewhere around 100. And that's what a lot of people like to do.
Yeah, I was going to say a super key point right there too is getting pre-approved. If you are thinking about selling to buy a home, obviously you're going to talk with your agent when it comes to selling your home, so you're going to know exactly what you're going to walk away with when it does come time after, all commissions are paid, all closing costs are all taken care of. You'll know what's going to be that net, and then we can go and talk with Edgar like, hey, this is how much we're going to walk away with from the sale of the property. Where does that land us as an approval standpoint if we want to stay around this payment price, right? So great point, Edgar, on getting pre-approved before you go out and you start shopping or trying to sell your house.
And then talking to Dylan again, knowing that net, that's a key number because some people forget that you do have to pay closing costs when you sell a property, and things like that. So you want to make sure that you know that number so you don't get surprised when you sell the house and you don't realize what you actually netted.
Yeah, it's definitely scary too if you don't do this process beforehand and you've already gone through listing your home and looking at houses, and then you find a house that you love in a certain price range and then come to find out you got $30,000 of debt that needs to be paid off, or maybe you didn't end up netting as much as you thought you were going to. So talking with us beforehand is just going to be a little step to be a little more prepared.
Yeah, so brings us to our next topic of, preparing your home for sale. This is all Dylan right here.
Yeah, this is definitely a key point. Obviously, homes that are turnkey, just meaning that they have no work or minimal work to be done, are going to sell faster. And when people are moving, we got to take our seller hat off and we got to think like a buyer, right? So if we were going through a house, what would be something that we would notice or want done as a buyer, or something that would stick out to us, right? Because we get very comfortable in our own homes thinking that everything's okay. And it's not to say it's not, but when we're trying to sell your home and get the most amount of money, we want to do as much as we can in order to make that happen and as fast as possible for you, right? So these are key things: decluttering it, making sure that spaces look open, they look very clean, accessible, the less amount of stuff. We usually say anything smaller than the size of a cantaloupe, you want to tuck that away, put that away, really free up the space, right? It's easier on the eyes too. Repairs, so fixing it could be something as small as just like little paint chips in your house. I know paint seems super minimal, but again, perception is everything. So having that clean aspect to the home where people can come in and everything's ready to go, that can do wonders for you. If you have a broken window, sometimes that could hold up a sale, right? So there's little things that you want to just go through your house, touch up, and just make sure that it looks as good as possible so you're delivering a great product to someone too. That'll help you out on the repair side too, so that way we're not having to go through a laundry list of things that maybe the buyer calls out. We've already knocked them all out ahead of time. These are key when it comes to timing for selling your home. We don't want to be in a position where we're trying to buy a home that you love and then now the buyer of your property is holding us up because there's all these little knick-knack things that they're picking at on us that we could have handled beforehand. Highlighting your home's best features with neutral colors, again, going back to the painting or just the design that you've chosen throughout your house. If we have 40 different colors of furniture or 3 different types of carpet, these are all things that we can work with, right? But we want to go through and see how we can work with them best. So curb appeal, these are easy ones too. too, like mowing the lawn, planting some fresh flowers, maybe throwing down some mulch. A lot of that stuff is cheaper than you think, depending on who you talk to or who you go through. So definitely talk with us. And then this is the best one: consult with a real estate agent for advice, right? So this is just some of the little tidbits that I've gone over with you, but we have a whole plan from start to finish. And of course, we don't expect you to do everything on the list, but the more that you do, the more higher chance or the more likelihood you're going to get your home to sell for more and for faster.
Yeah, and you're talking to an agent. I mean, think about it. Dylan's walking with buyers all the time. He's getting direct feedback from his buyers, what they like, what they don't like. So he takes that information and shares it with people who are looking to sell, because he knows like what the buyer's thinking when they're walking through a property. So it's definitely important to take their opinion and actually do it. You know, whatever they say, do it.
Super awesome point. I mean, and what's funny too is if you are selling and buying, you're both of those things, right? So when you're walking through houses and you're looking at houses and you're like, oh, I would have done this, or oh, I would have done this, right? There's other people who are going to have that same mindset about your house. Even if you do have a perfect product, there's obviously going to be things that people are going to want to change. So we just want to try and make it as neutral and open to the most amount of buyers as possible when we're selling our house. Again, that way we can get the most eyes on it, getting you the most money.
All right, so now let's say you got the house ready to go.
Oh yeah,
it's clean. Did some repairs here and there. It's ready to get listed for sale, and now I'm starting to shop as a seller. I'm also a buyer now. What does it mean making a contingent offer?
So everything that we've talked about leading up to this, so getting pre-approved with your lender before you even go to sell your house, knowing exactly how much you're going to be working with, getting to that offer stage. So you found a home that you love, you want to sell your home, right? You found the home that you love. Now we make a contingent offer. So the way that we do is it's like a congruent sale. It's a good way to think about it. They all run along the same time frame. So if you place an offer on a property that you love, you tell them, hey, I got to sell my home before I'm able to buy your home. They acknowledge that time frame, and then you either have an allotted amount of time to go and find a buyer for your property if it's not already in a pending sale in escrow, or you're already, like I said, in escrow and those time frames just line up. We match those time frames together. Now, if you're jumping from one house to the next, we want to make sure that everything is very seamless as far as times, right? So we want to have all the dates up front for moving, making sure that the properties close on the appropriate dates. And then another big one is if we can't get the home that we're purchasing to close sooner, right? Because obviously we need to move from one home to the next. We need to do some sort of a rent back, right? Or a seller in possession is what we call it. So this is something that we want to negotiate out to give you ample time to move everything from one home to the next, so you're not moving twice, because that's making your life more miserable, or hell, for example, for no reason, when we can do everything seamless and put you guys from one to the next. So
especially if you have dogs or kids.
School, all that. It's pretty nasty.
So I mean, that's where it's really getting started early. At the end of the day, we're going to emphasize get your planning started as soon as you can. If you know, like, hey, we're in a 3-bedroom, we need a 4-bedroom. And we added 2 to the family in the last 5 years. Call Dylan and say, hey, we really want to sell our house in the near future. What does it look like for me right now in the next 3 months, 6 months? It's good to start early, because if you do it last minute, it's going to suck. It always sucks.
It definitely, doing anything last minute will put you in a weird spot. And then too, just depending on timing. So everyone's a little different. Some people like to have their home on the market for sale when they go and actively start looking for a home to purchase. Some people like to go and start looking for a home to purchase and have their home ready to go, so that way if they do locate that replacement property, your next home, that they can throw their home on the market as soon as possible to get an offer. There's benefits to both of those, and it really depends on what your situation is. So that's why it's super beneficial to talk with us beforehand, so that way we can dive in and figure out a plan that's going to work for you.
Because you might be sitting in a house that's like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath that you know is going to sell in like
super fast.
So there's no need to sell it right away. You can probably start shopping in advance, but with the confidence, after talking to Dylan and seeing what these houses sell for and how quickly, you'll know, like, all right, cool, we don't have to worry about, we're not going to stress about whether or not our house is going to sell. It's going to sell.
But if you have, maybe let's say you're downsizing and you're trying to do a continuous sale and you're moving from $1 million home that's like in an exclusive area or has specific attributes to it that are more of a niche sale, right? And you're trying to move into something that's a little bit more accessible, maybe in a $400,000 to $500,000 price range. Maybe buying your home is going to be a lot easier than selling it. So maybe getting that on the market for sale before you even start shopping would be a good idea to get more attention going. So that's kind of the different ways of how those aspects can be taken into consideration.
Yeah, so Dylan briefly mentioned a seller in possession. What does that really mean? Let's just say you find yourself selling your property a little bit quicker than you closing on your purchase home. How does that work?
Yeah, so if we're in a spot where, again, we're moving from one home to the next and we both need them to close because we need the money from one to get to the next, we would do a seller in possession, and that would let you stay for under 30 days with a seller in possession. And this is like a way that, nothing really gets messed with as far as your interest rates, because once we go past 30 days, it starts to become a lease after the sale, and that can change some things. It might turn it into like a little bit of an investor loan. Edgar will have some information about that for sure. But just if we can get you under those 30 days, it'll give you that time to get everything from your current house moved over to your next. No one will be in that new home that you just purchased, so it gives you a little bit of leeway. You can leisurely move everything over.
Yeah, and let's just say you're a client that can put money down to buy the next house. And you do have reserves where you can actually manage to pay both mortgages.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about the seller in possession. That's good for you, right?
Yeah.
But let's just say you only had enough to put the minimum down. There's something called recasting of the loan.
Yeah.
So this is something that a lot of people don't know. So for example, let's just say you had enough to put 5% down on the next purchase, but you have enough reserves to keep up with both mortgages if you had to. But you wanted to put more money down, of course, but you didn't sell your house in time. Well, once you sell your property and you get your net proceeds, you can then call the mortgage company and say, hey, I want to put more money towards my principal. Let's just say $100,000. You say specifically, I would like to recast my loan, where then you take a lump sum of that money, pay down the principal, and they re-amortize your loan, meaning like they're going to adjust the payment based off that down payment that you added to the principal, or the payment towards the principal. So it counts as if you did that initial down payment up front. So a lot of people feel like they missed out, like, oh, I could have put more money down. Well, you still can after you sell your property if you happen to do a scenario like that. So
yeah, no, and that's an awesome thing too. And again, this goes back to the very first thing, consulting with your agent and your lender, because these are all things that you want to know about before you start shopping, because they're all things that are going to help you when you do go to shop, right? So they can help us get a better idea of, okay, well, I know that I can afford both these payments or I can't, right? And that right there alone will show us which avenue we need to start going down. And again, it's just really great to communicate beforehand, so that way you're not just tossed into the fire and you have to figure it out as you go.
So now the other thing I wanted to bring up real quick, if you happen to come across the dream home and they are not accepting contingent offers, meaning you have to, for you as a seller, you have to sell your property to buy the next one. But let's just say that specific seller that you want to purchase the home from, they're saying, well, we don't want to accept a contingent offer because we don't know how long it's going to take for you to sell your home.
Yeah.
Well, we do offer,
which happens.
It happens a lot, and people miss out, and it sucks because that was their dream home. Well, we do have a bridge loan option, meaning you can tap into the equity of your home that you're selling while it's still listed for sale and roll that into the new purchase. Therefore, you can now still have your house listed for sale, but you're unlocking the equity in advance to put it down towards the purchase that you're making. That way, it's not now contingent on you selling because you now got the equity that you needed. It's a little bit, it's a program that where it offers convenience. It does cost money to do these type of programs. In a nutshell, it's about 2% or 2.4% of the sell price of the home to do this. And to some people, it's worth it if it's like the perfect home that you found, you don't want to miss out on. You can reach out to me. I'll tell you more details on how that program works.
Again, another key point, this is why it's so crucial to talk in the very beginning with your agent and your lender, because as we could keep going on, we could go slide after slide after slide of all the different avenues and options that you have when it comes to selling your home and buying a home. So don't ever feel like you're limited to only one specific option. There's definitely different ways to stroke it, if you will, to figure out what we can do here.
Yeah, and I mean, that pretty much wraps up the slides, but there's we can
so
keep going.
More.
We can keep going.
There's so much more. We could sit here for an hour and just go over contingent and buying, how that whole process looks and feels. But again, it's so different for everybody. Everyone's situation is a little bit different. But again, don't feel like it's a one size fits all. So,
yeah.
but no.
So we appreciate you guys tuning in again.
Yeah.
I feel
Another
like
great week.
Yeah, another great week.
Another great week.
There's just so much information, guys, and Dylan and I have been doing this for so many years. We've encountered almost every type of scenario that you can think of, good and bad.
Yeah.
Shaky. Sometimes things happen so quick and they're so seamless and perfect. Like, you never know. Everybody's situation is different.
A huge part of it too is no specific sale. Don't get me wrong, some are just real smooth. Everything goes as planned. There's no repairs. Everything on the lending side went great. All of your work info is fantastic. But a big part of this is just being in a position to where you can provide solutions. And that's what me and Edgar are big on is, yeah, everything's going to be different to each person. There's no doubt about it. But how can we provide a solution for each person that does work, right? So a unique, specific set of plans that's going to fit you. So definitely reach out. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button, no doubt. Double thumbs up. Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you next week too.
And share this with somebody that might benefit from
it. If there's anybody you think that might even benefit from 60 seconds of this, it's definitely worth sending them. We appreciate you guys. You take care.
Take care. Bye.